How's it going, guys? And welcome to Gabe's Reef. I'm gonna come in here a little bit. Everything's been doing pretty good. This is Monday, so this is actually when I do my water change. I do a weekly 4-gallon water change. A few things have changed. Unfortunately, one of my anemones wasn't doing too hot. It was a little bit bleached. I guess it wasn't getting enough light, is what someone commented, and I appreciate the info. So I actually moved both of them, and both of them decided to go underneath the rocks again. It's kind of frustrating, but I'm just gonna let them do what they want to do at this point. I've tried moving them. So basically, this rock right here that was about upwards of right here kept falling down. Plus it was getting too much flow and too much light really for these mushrooms. Not so much too much light, but the flow was a major issue. So I decided to put them down here. They seem to be doing well. They opened back up. Before they were really closed, not closed, but when I moved them they closed up. So actually they came back pretty well. I decided to put this rock up here. It's getting plenty of light, so it's starting to culture and grow a little bit of algae on it, but I don't mind too much. I plan on hopefully those two, a hermit and a turbo snail, take care of that. And then the green star polyps are doing pretty well. Every once in a while you'll see them move. You know, it's not getting too much crazy flow, but should be okay. You kind of see that leather tree moving a little bit. You can see another leather moving pretty well right there. So it's getting decent flow. The candies heads are huge, doing really well. These are supposedly torch corals, supposedly. You can see them that they're already starting to extend a lot further than they were before. They were getting way too much flow where it was at. I do appreciate that tip as well. Plus, I think they were getting too much light, so I moved them to about a medium area. They seem to both be really extended, much more than before, so I appreciate that tip. The Lobo's doing okay. All my hermits keep changing their shells to bigger. That's good. The two clownfish get along some days, and the next day they chase each other, so it's a really weird thing going on. They are two different sizes. I thought they would pair up nicely. Hopefully they eventually pair up if they're not paired up already. My mandarin's doing okay. Yesterday was a great day just because of the simple fact that he ate a little bit of frozen shrimp. I literally lost it when I seen that. So he ate quite a bit of that. So did he as well. I've seen him actually, the blenny. I've seen the blenny actually eat, this is a scooter blenny. I actually saw him eat some pellets the other day. So I've been trying to get some pellets down towards the bottom and on the rocks because they do scavenge pretty well, particularly for tiger pods. As you know, in my previous video, I think I did a video of tiger pod substitute. In conclusion, I should have been more specific. They ate them. I think the blenny ate a couple, but I wouldn't go as far as saying a substitute. That's why there's a question mark by. I thought it could be substituted. It was suggested by a local employee at a fish store. Not that it was wrong. Some of them might prefer it. Some of them might. You know, every creature, you know, is different in its own little way. So, you know, you have to kind of experiment and, you know, process elimination and just basically see what's best for you. You know, everything doesn't work out the same for everyone else. In the video, the pest, someone identified it as Aptasia, and it was right there. Now, it's pretty much gone because of this product right here. It was pretty affordable as well. You'll see this is called Joe's Juice. Let me show you inside the package really well. Well, not really well, really quickly. Sorry, it's a little dark right here. I have a bunch of new products I purchased, so I'll kind of go through everything that I got going on. So it did not come with an actual instruction book. At least I couldn't find it. The chemical is really white and kind of thick. Kind of give it a little shake. So this supposedly treats up to like 100 pests or more. Here's the syringe it comes with. You just fill it up with a decent amount in there, and then you basically cover the anemone, pretty much. It does have this tip. It does not fit in the box. The tip goes onto there. You draw it up. You find your anemones, and you just simply cover them with this chemical, and it kills them. So they were right there on that rock, really big. You couldn't miss them. And they're pretty much gonzo. So I'm really, really happy with it so far. I've only seen a total of 3. I've treated all 3, and I've not seen any. That's how that tip goes on there. I have not seen any more anemones. So Aptasia. So I'm real happy about that. They can sting your corals and kill them. Once again, that was identified one of my viewers. I appreciate the tip. Honestly, I should have. I'm terrible with names, and I apologize. I should have gave you a shout out for. Please subscribe to him. He's in actually one of the previous videos. He commented. I'm sure you can go down to the comment section and see who commented what. So make sure to check him out. Give his page, you know, a subscription, a like, or something. You know, he seems to been doing. He's done this for a little while, so he's experienced things I haven't yet. He's more experienced than I am. So you know, it's always nice to share that kind of information. I'm glad he took the time to share that with me, or I wouldn't be solving this problem. So once again, thanks. Appreciate that, man. Hopefully, you know, someone shows you some love by subscribing to your channel or visiting. I hope you guys do. So it doesn't have too many details. It just says danger and all that. Didn't come with no pamphlet or nothing. I just simply typed it in on YouTube. I found out how someone did it. I replicated it. Make sure you turn off all of your flow, because this stuff will blow all over. You don't want it on your corals and stuff. Try to be as neat as possible. So what I did is I turned off my flow, my pump. I got roughly 2 milligrams. I probably got too much for the amount I had. And I coated the complete, you can see, kind of try to draw in. I quickly coated it, that whole area, and it stuck to it, and it like almost froze instantly. It didn't want to move, and I completely covered it. A little bit fell right here, and it's gone. It was on the gravel. It's gone, completely gone. And then there was a little spot right there to the left by the well, you kind of see a little bit of the stuff right there. There was one right there, gone. I haven't seen it since. I haven't seen it spread. I think I almost killed that one, honestly, by smashing it with a pair of tweezers trying to pull it out. So I just wanted to make sure it was gone. I went ahead and put some under, but I haven't seen it back. So Joe's Juice worked perfectly. Nothing seems, even the coral right there is not bothered by it. I'm not saying to get all over it, but it's in close proximity. Didn't bother it. Seemed it didn't bother anything. It's probably all natural, I imagine. So there's a shout out for that. I know I've heard Aptasia X is the best. It's $15.99 at my local fish store, and I'm not sure what it was online. This is on like $8.49. So on Amazon, 2-day shipping. Actually came a day early. So can't complain there. Great so far. And then I buy most of these products about half and half. Actually more than half. So I purchased this off of Amazon for $8.49, and then I like to support my local fish store. Same price as Amazon. I get a 2-pack of these cartridge filters for $9.99, so that is not a bad deal. What you can actually do is use cold water and rinse the food and the debris out of here. Be careful, this will fray real easily, and it'll start to almost peel up. So just be careful with that. Just kind of let the water rinse everything off of it that's loose. You know, I rinse it every couple of days just because leftover food, which actually bought something to take care of that. The issue that I was having is even if I was turning off most of the flow, it would still, I couldn't turn off my main pump. The water level dropped, they freak out, they don't want to eat. So I turn off my main circulation pump, and I leave the sub pump on, and I have a remedy to keep food from getting in here. These last quite a while. I'd say they last at least 4 to 6 weeks. Longer if you rinse them and kind of be gentle with them and take care of them. So I also bought this from my local fish store. This is actually the wood mini air stone that goes inside the Coral Life's skimmer that I have. It only recommends you use the wood one. I guess if you want to set up the one with the stone or anything else, you have to have a pin and a wheel or something like that. So basically, you have to use this as designed for that particular skimmer. This is only $4.99. I only saw one at the fish store, so I went ahead and grabbed it to have it as a spare. Basically, they said just watch it. Watch the amount of air that comes through it. You can tell when it's not, you know, when you have it usually dialed in, and then for some reason it's barely enough bubbles to go over the rim, and you keep turning it up, You don't want to put a lot of wear and tear, you know, a lot of pressure on your pump to always, you know, put so much air out. So replace these. These are very, very cheap. Says Coral Life on the wood. That screws in right there. Looks like it's threaded. Yep, it's threaded. Looks like that screws in right there, right into the wood. I'm pretty sure that's tapped. And then this is the wood itself. So this is the wood mini airstone. So it works well. Replacement part for it. So I got this from this fish store. I got these 2 items for the fish store. I got this from Amazon, and then I also ordered this from Amazon because I did not see it at my local fish store. This is called the floating feeding ring. Now, why is this so significant for me is what'll happen is when I put this in here, it'll keep the food the way the BioCube's design. If you haven't seen it before, I'll show you really quickly. See those little vents right there? It's basically a skimmer, like to trap food off the top of the water. So what'll happen is when you put the food right here, and with all this rippling, it pushes it towards that direction a little bit, and it'll pretty much, most of the food will actually go into the filter before the fish get a chance to eat it. So by, they're excited, I think they're eating. Sorry guys, didn't mean to fake you out there. So by putting this in here, floats, you stick it to the glass, float it right there, obviously where this door is. And what's going to essentially happen is the food is going to be trapped in this little area, and they know where they're going to be eating at every time. The pellets that sink don't really get sucked up into that. They go towards the bottom. That's mainly for like the bandit shrimp. I've seen actually the blenny eat it. You know, each food has its purpose kind of in my tank, and I'm hoping, you know, to have more of a diversified, you know, food choices for them. So this will just help keep a lot of that from getting in the filter, from me having to rinse it. By rinsing it, you know, this material right here frays, and then the filter is pretty much almost no good. So plus you're putting a lot of waste in there, then it gets a chance to rot. It can, you know, add terrible amounts of nitrates in your water, you know, waste that you don't want in there. So that'll help keep your levels down, especially if you rinse your filter. I'm not saying that this is going to be, you know, 100% fixed. It's going to be huge difference. Honestly, if I'm careful about the amount I put in there, and this floating, it should keep it there. You know, most of the flakes float for a very long time, so they should have plenty of time to eat. I could put a little less in there, make sure they eat it all. So I think it's going to work out really well. I do believe this was under $10. I think it was like $8 or $9 or $9.99. On Amazon, they had round ones, square ones, all kinds of different ones. They had a setup that was more. It was like $20, I think. They had this, a round one, and then also had the long tube that has an opening for like feeding your shrimp and stuff. He's gonna find it. I don't need no tube for him. He's gonna scavenge every inch of this tank till he gets some food. So this was bought from Amazon. These from the fish store, and then I also purchased this from my local fish store. I like Instant Ocean, but as another thing, this is the only salt available is Instant Ocean at my local fish store. They really like this product. This is the Reef Crystals Reef Salt. So this has more calcium, more minerals, more magnesium, nitrate and phosphate free. You know, for demanding reef hobbyists, formulated to encourage coral growth. So this is basically really good salt. I'm not saying it's better than Red Sea or any other product, but this is decent. I think this is a really good product. I wouldn't even say decent. I said really good, honestly. This does 50 gallons of water. So I actually bought one of these when I first set up my tank. I've done 2 water changes, and both of them I use this salt to mix up the fresh water. So what I like to do is I like to have a bucket that says clean and a bucket that says waste. You can see a little bit of like gravel in there and a little bit of, it's not too dirty. I try to get most of the water and stuff out of it. So I'd recommend having 2 separate buckets. I only do 4 gallons, so this 5-gallon bucket's perfect. Unfortunately, I don't have RODI water. The only reason I'm looking into it is, to be honest with you, it's better for you to drink. You know, I think it's better for laundry. I think it's better to shower in. So, you know, if you invest in a system like that, even an ROD, you know, not the ionized, even if you don't have the ionized cartridge, you know, that still makes a tremendous amount of, you know, I think it removes like 90% with the ionized, it removes 100%. So distilled water is your next best bet if you don't have a system like this, or if you don't have a local, my local fish store doesn't have it. PetSmart has the pre-mixed salt water. It's pretty expensive, like $15 or $16 for like 4 or 5 gallons or something like that. So I figure I spend 89 cents a gallon of this water. I buy this huge bag that it's gonna last me forever. Tons of water changes. At least, I mean, 10, probably at least like 11 or 12 water changes. Plus I probably have maybe 1 water change left in my small little Ziploc bag. So I'm gonna get plenty of water changes for what I do. You know, I do 5 gallons at a time, so it'll be at least 4 gallons, so it'll be at least like 12 or so. Mathematically, I'm not the best at. That's pretty much it. Just shows a little bit about it. Hydrometer, that's hilarious. I know people get on me about, say that this works well. A lot of people use it. I just think the refractometer is a lot better. It just tells you the gravity that you want and the parts per million that you want. A lot of folks shoot for 1.026 35 parts per million. I'm a little bit below that. I like to do 1.025, about 34 parts per million or 33 parts per million, something like that. So, and I think the temperature affects that. Magnesium, 1345. Calcium, 455. So that's pretty good when you mix that up. The levels are up there. You know, when you pre-mix this, you're pretty much good to go on your calcium, magnesium. Obviously, your Reef's going to consume it, but that's pretty amazing how, you know, enhanced and how amazing this Reef crystals are. So there we have it, the good old Reef crystals. What else? I think that's all I purchased this week. You know, everything else, I've been keeping track of literally everything in my little planner. I write sloppy, but I mean every dosage, everything is kept track of. When I add this, when I feed that. I mean, I try to be really, really specific about things like that. Especially when you do these videos, you kind of see the growth, I guess. You kind of see how everything's doing. What's that little guy doing? You need a bigger shell, buddy. There's plenty of shells down there. Look at this shell right here. He's got a nice shell. Another guy over here had a huge shell, and he was so little. So they really like those shells. Hopefully, he should be able to find some. I think he's actually headed that way. He should be able to find some shells down here. Hopefully, he can find a bigger home for him. But you know, the levels have been really well. The nitrates, I didn't test this week for nitrates. I should. I do a weekly water change. In the past, I've had it, I think it's like 20 parts per million. So it's never really been an issue. Ammonia pretty much stays at 0. You know, I have a lot of live rock filtration. I have live sand. I have ceramic bioball, so that holds natural live bacteria in it. I have a couple blocks of that black foam for filtration, and then I have a pure chem carbon filter, and obviously this filter, which is kind of a floss with a carbon filter as well. So there's plenty of filtration going on. Really, everything's been great. Had to move some corals around. Probably might have to do some more adjustments. I don't know about this formation, the way it looks, honestly. Especially with that rock being so white. But eventually it'll culture, things will grow on it. I'm looking into getting some kind of coral for it, or something to grow, especially on like this area or this side. I'm gonna get something eventually. I'm probably not gonna add any corals for a while. I'd say for at least about 3 to 4 weeks, just see how everything how other ones are doing, how much are they consuming. I'm trying to get that dialed in. My calcium's been a little bit low. Magnesium hasn't been that low, barely. I had only do like 1 milliliter for that. The alkalinity was like a 7 or 8, so it wasn't terrible. I had to add a little bit of that as well. So, I mean, it hasn't been way off. It's not like, you know, something's going to get hurt or, you know, obviously doing something right because the candies are booming. That's a hard stony coral. These were not happy where they were at, so that's what kept the tentacles from being long, but other than that, they look pretty happy. My Lobo looks okay. That's hard stony, so far they look okay. Softies are doing, all the softies are doing great. Anemone's not so hot just because of the fact that they hide. I mean, he was in a perfectly good spot over here. This other anemone was right over here. I mean, look how closed up he is. He's just not getting the light. And he was, see that hole right there to the left? This hole right, let me get my finger. Right there. He was facing out that way towards the light, beautiful spot, and then now suddenly he's right there. So I don't understand what he's got going on. What's making him get in there like that? I don't think it's nowhere near too much light. I do have my blues and my day running, so let me show you real quickly. You can see I have all channels on during the day, so it should have plenty of light. I don't think it's too much, to be honest with you. I run my, you know, my moonlight from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then my high intensity from 9 or 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. So it gets plenty of light for everybody. This is the LED version. It feels like the older T5s or something, you know. Maybe I need an LED strip or something, but everything should be fine. There's been comments about my anemone not getting enough light. I think that this should have enough power. It's just that if they're gonna hide in a cave or something and not get that light, you know, that's really hurting them. You know, that's hurting the anemone. I was hoping, you know, I don't pry or poke at them. The only thing I do is I feed them, and I don't even touch them with the turkey baster. I try to leave them alone. You know, I don't know what's causing them to close up like that or be so unhappy. Seem like they're unhappy to me. So hopefully I'll do this water change. You know, I do the lagoons dose. I did Saturday. Let's see. I did a drop Saturday, so I'm on almost week 3 of that. So week 4 has to be off of the iodine. I don't dose anything that week. And then what else? That's pretty much it. So just kind of monitoring everything. You know, it seems like as soon as I clean my glass, I have to clean it like 2 days later. So it's not too crazy. The hair algae was absolutely terrible. There's hardly any. The next kind of a gravel vacuuming / water change is pretty much going to get rid of all of it. I'm going to try my best to scrub the glass. I should have that sparkling clean this time since there isn't that much algae. That should be no issue. Maybe right there, that spot where that rock's kind of in the way, might be a little bit towards the bottom where the brown is, not the green. Spot might be there. But besides that, I'm really iffy, especially after I move these rocks. A lot of my rocks shifted and changed when I moved that rock. You can see the gap there. This was more, this whole piece right here was more rotated this way, and it rotated that way. So, you know, you can see the grain star polyps are more towards the top. Remember that area towards the bottom right here was like all the way at the bottom right here, wasn't getting any light. Now it is. So I'm happy about that. You know, the caves are looking a little different. They're still really big, and the fish can swim all throughout. I love that about that. I like this design. It's a little bit different. I think all the coral should do well there. Just disappointed about the anemones. Everybody says, hey, just move it. I've moved it. It moves right back to where it's at. Or in a different, like, you know, they're over here. And then I try to move the bubble anemone over here to the side. And he went all the way around the rock to the backside underneath. So it's like so aggravating. Let's see if we can see him. He's right there, the bubble anemone. So honestly, I'm just going to leave him be. I try moving him to a location that's more light is the main thing. I still make sure I feed him. So the food's not an issue. It's just the amount of light, not getting enough. Hopefully that doesn't kill him the minute they start dissolving. That would be terrible. Hopefully that does not happen. But, so I just wanted to kind of do a quick overview of everything, what's going on this week. Always stay on your water changes. I can't emphasize that enough. Honestly, I don't have that much knowledge about this. What's keeping all my corals beautiful is simply water changes. Simple as that. Water change, especially something this size, water changes are really important. Obviously, if it's smaller, like a 5 or a 10, you cannot skip a week. Unless you have no fish and you're not putting any waste in there, you might be able to go longer times. I believe in a protein skimmer, mechanical filtration. I've seen tanks without it. Most of them, what I learned and what I know is honestly off the internet. The only thing about the internet, to be honest with you, is some things, pretty much there could be 4 different ways and it could all be correct, or all of them could be wrong. It just depends on your tank and your setup, and then what your specific situation or scenario, or what I mean. There's just so many factors that can change things, and it's just find something successful and go with it. Like, so far everything is successful besides my anemones. Like, everyone's doing good. I've not had a single death. I've not had any spikes. I've not had any crashes. So, all in all, I think I've done okay. I do appreciate tips. If anyone has a tip or a comment, just as long as it's family friendly, I will respond. I will take it, take it in consideration, and you might even see my tank change, like what the last comment did. So, I want to grow. I want to learn. I want you guys to help me out. Hopefully, this helps someone else out. It just depends on your situation. So mainly I did this, it's a fun hobby. It's an expensive hobby, but it's a really fun hobby. It's a way of, really enjoying it. I love fish. I've always loved fish. I always wanted salt water, and I finally got it. So it's a little bit of work, especially with the water changes. It takes longer to plug up the heater and the power head than the actual water change. You got to make sure the temperature gets up no lower than 78, 77, and then you're good to go. I set that up to 78. I have to drop it in there. I drop my power head in there because I have an extra heater and a power head, especially a heater. One craps out, or if your power head craps out, you have a backup plan. Sump is really important if that does. Technically, I have a 300-gallon sump. I don't know if it'll fit. I actually have 2 pumps outside. I had an outdoor pond, and unfortunately, something tragic happened where my beautiful koi fish died. I'm still bummed out about that. And I'm not going to get into that too much, but I have a 300-gallon pump and a 700-gallon pump, sub pump. So, if that crapped out, technically I have a 300, I could probably rig up or drop in there to where I get it to work, till I get a replacement pump. But I'm actually looking into replacement pump if someone knows a size or a brand or something that could fit in there. That's a 260. I would like at least 350 to 400. I think would be better for this. The water does move okay. You can see that it does pump pretty well. I do have quite a bit of filtration, so that can, I can tell when this filter gets old or starts to clog, as the water starts to cover it completely by like a 1/4 inch or so, and that's how you know your filtration's dirty or